Yo, what's up, guys? This is Donald, aka D-Bot from the West Box Score podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and listening to our show. Before we get started, I gotta ask you guys to please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify, screenshot and tag us on Twitter and Instagram. We're at West Box Score. Our social links will be in the show notes. Today I got JV Ortiz coming through. We're gonna talk about some Dodgers baseball, just kind of talking about the state of the Dodgers, and he's gonna share a little bit about his career in photography and our partner Sailor Brew Coffee, which I will talk about in a little bit. But before we get into that, I also wanted to share with you guys that we have an ever-growing Discord group. Check that invite link in our show notes. Shout out to some of our active users on there, like Big Money Matt Paz, Billy Delgado, Nahum Galdames, Parker McDaniels, Brianna Flores, our very own JV Ortiz, who's going to be with us, Rick Esparza, and Clipper Pablo. And like I mentioned earlier, Sailor's Brews Coffee. Check them out. They are supporters of this show. They are a place where motivation meets coffee. They're based out of Pasadena, California. They have some amazing luxury coffees. They support us, and they actually give our listeners 10% off their first order using our code WBS10. That's 10% off using our code WBS10, as in West Box Score 10. And also check out the affiliate link that will be in our show notes. Please click that link, as it helps us out here in the show when you place your order for Sailor's Brew Coffee. And now with that, guys, it's time for the show. So with me today is JV Ortiz, proud representative of Sailor Brews Coffee, and Dodger baseball aficionado. We're going to talk about baseball today. JV, man, what's going on with you, brother?
Oh, no, bro. It's, been a rough week. Definitely with the team as well.
Yeah, right?
Watching the Dodgers. It's been up and down emotional
I
time,
know.
Man, I've been good.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to get into it. The Dodgers did win tonight. We're recording this Friday night. The Dodgers did win 5-6 against the Mets in extra innings. It actually broke, I think they had like a 10-game losing streak in extra innings. So they broke that streak tonight. Will Smith with a home run. Julio Urias was our starting pitcher. Probably one of the two, right? You would say one of the two more reliable pitchers we got on this roster. I know the pitching's kind of a little shaky right now.
Yeah, I think he's up there way past David Price for sure. And what's the other guy we tried out the game we lost? White.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know his first name. So it was kind of like, it's hard to say that the starting pitchers are struggling because, we have a staff, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
that's
to
true,
see
man.
some of these losses happen, it kind of hurts.
Yeah, Michelle White started against the Phillies in the last game that we had against the Phillies. And he went in for 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 errors. 2 earned runs, I should say. But yeah, that was a rough one. But on top of that, man, like obviously you and I have been speaking about this privately. The offense, it's a big kind of like, it feels like a thorn on the side of this team that for whatever reason, I think Alex said it best, that it's either you're gonna get 10 runs or like nothing. And it feels like game to game, you don't know which offense you're getting.
Yeah, and I think that's the hardest part. And kind of been wanting to, I haven't been watching the games in full because of that reason. I think after that last game we lost, where we should have won it, I don't even remember what game it was because I was just already so over losing in extra innings, or the fact that we just struggle on getting guys in when the bases are loaded.
Yeah.
In real good situations that we can simply just get a base hit and bring our guys in, it's always the players trying to go overboard and hit that home run or hit the grand slam and bring everyone in versus just bring one in. And it's like, sometimes it gets just overwhelming for us, like to the point where we just want to scream at them, man.
Yeah.
I get everyone on the team's a good hitter. Don't get that part wrong. We have a killer squad when those bats are on fire, but I think the pressure that everyone, I think, is on is trying to hit that home run in every clutch situation. I think that needs to get fixed big time before we go in. And I think that's the biggest reason why we're behind 4.5 games.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, it's a good thing that you mentioned that 4.5 games behind the Giants. I was reading this morning Bill Plaschke's LA Times article, which it was titled the short calendar is the Dodgers' biggest foes, not the Giants, and basically kind of was making the argument that with 47 games left, it seems like it's starting to become more and more bleak that they'll be able to catch up and beat the Giants for that first place in the NL West. Still, man, I can't believe it. I'm still in a bit of a disbelief that the Giants are still this good, but damn, like,
man,
they're taking care of the season, man, and it's tough.
That is.
But man, it was definitely interesting because, you know, obviously, like you said, you know, a lot of situations with the Dodgers offense with either sometimes it's like bases loaded situations where they really just don't bring anybody home, even though the bases are loaded. It should be easy. But yeah, man, this offense really is struggling and it's just not consistent at all. And I think for the most part that'll be my thing with them. I think to me that stands out to me more than the pitching. I feel like the pitching eventually it will shake out. Obviously, Scherzer's a solid dude. Kershaw, we'll see how he pans out come postseason, because I know the injury thing is just, it just feels like he has like a thing that just lingers throughout the season. I saw that Mookie Betts was placed on injury list, I believe. And that's
my brother guessed that one too, man, and that's a horrible thing because my brother's been saying like, man, he keeps hurting it. He's probably gonna need surgery.
Yeah,
and that part's been a little rough.
I see that it's been a hip injury that he's been having, so it feels like they were trying to downplay it a little bit, but I think they had to kind of like face the music into saying like, yo, this is something where he's really gonna have to sit out for some time, which sucks because when he came back from injury the first time, he was a big part of that offense and the defense. You know what I mean? Those that amazing catch he got where he caught it like midair and everything. It was just things like that we're not going to have for a little bit. It's just tough to see.
Yeah, like with the hip injury that Mookie's kind of suffering is, I mean, it's been happening for a while, and I know my brother's been kind of like going on about that. Like, man, he's probably going to need surgery. We're probably not going to have him in the postseason, which is scary because, like you were saying previously, with the catch he made, and his offense and defense is real clutch for the team, man. But not having him in the postseason seems a little scary. I mean, he's the reason we won last year, I believe, along with Corey Seager. But he was definitely one of our clutch players to help us move on to get that World Series title.
Yeah, man. I think he definitely boosted that offense for sure. It's tough to see that go now. Just because, you know, we've seen him gone for the period that he's been gone, and it doesn't feel like anyone's been able to step up and fill the shoes that he has. And oh man, I mean, that was a big part of why we traded for him and why we gave up what we gave up to get him. So it's tough to see that, man. I know another part that has gone viral lately was Trey Turner just being like the Flash out there on the field. Dude, like ran from like first base to home, I think it was. And
went all the way.
It's crazy. And then obviously that one that became a GIF, which was him sliding, where he just like slides and gets up right away.
Oh.
Like.
Yeah, bro, we got to go into that slide. But yeah, first that run, man. When I first saw it, I was so shocked. I was sitting with my youngest brother, and we came out and we're showing him the video. I'm like, bro, look at the timing on that. Like when he's rounding second, the ball's barely getting on the floor.
Yeah,
outfielder's barely coming to grab it. By the time he touches it, Turner's already rounding third.
Yeah.
He's barely in launch mode to get the ball over. And I'm like, bro, damn, man, not even like a good arm, bro, can get him out. Like, that was crazy to see wild, how fast he was moving.
I did like the edit that I think it was the Dodgers that made this edit. I don't know. It might have been fan made. I don't know. But it was the edit where like they obviously made him mimic the Flash. So they gave him like the Flash, like lightning sound effects on the video. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I saw that one. That's funny, man. They get real fast with putting those edits on.
Yeah,
but I think that's cool, man. He's showing off definitely why we traded for him and showing off the skills. And I mean his status quo being the fastest in the league and the best, man. Running those bases. So man, hats off to him. But no, that slide he did, bro. Oh man, that thing is. I've watched that video so many times. It's ridiculous. The Giants actually try to compete with us and put the Posey slide, but I think they forgot about all the other bad slides Posey got.
Dang.
Like the one when he put his face into third base.
Jeez.
And all these other ones I saw.
It's like, Giants, you guys are in first place, man. Stop trying to be us, even though, you know, like you guys are in first, all right? Like, relax.
Enjoy while it's there, man.
Yeah.
We're coming for it. Hopefully we get that soon.
Yeah. What do you think this means for Corey Seager, man? If Turner keeps playing like this, man.
That's a scary thought. We were actually talking about that too. But between me and my brothers, we always talk about this stuff. They're the only ones I really conversate with on a day to day about it. But yeah, man. I mean, I believe they'll keep Seager. Sad to say, my brother is usually 100% right about this stuff, but he does believe that Belly will probably be the one they let go.
Yeah, right.
Before, because again, we have bats, man. Like it's ridiculous to think that we don't have bats that can hit home runs on a full loaded bases situation, but that's not what we need, you know.
Yeah.
He's a good outfielder too. So
we got to go to the against when they first placed the Giants like a couple weeks ago. And I think it was kind of frustrating seeing at bat. I think it was Bellinger at bat, and he just kept going for that inside pitch and just kept swinging at it. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, it's kind of funny, but that guy does not want to do small ball whatsoever. And that's
not even.
That's literally what the Giants were doing on us, and it worked. And I don't get why this Dodger offense just refuses to do anything in terms of like switching it up a little bit. But yeah,
and that goes deep, and I think even as a Dodger fan and being huge, I mean, I want to say proud of how many good players we have from Pujols. I mean, we have a legendary team right now sitting in that clubhouse. But again, I think that's what makes it also a problem, because now you have huge egos sitting around each other nonstop.
Yeah.
Everyone trying to outdo each other. And I mean, I think it could be a blind spot for our players, because they want to do great. Again, everyone wants to be the clutch hitter. They just announced Will Smith as being Mr. Clutch now. So it's like they keep moving these titles around. And I mean, I get the media part about it, but it's just, I think you start putting all this pressure, and then the fans start buying into it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, Belly hit a bunch of bombs, and he's doing good the last 2 games where we won.
Yeah.
And everyone on Twitter and everywhere is like, Belly's back. Like, bro, that's 2 games minus the like 60 games he missed, a bunch of hits, and a bunch of RBIs and a bunch of good runs he could have brought in, or even home runs he could have brought in. But it's sad to see that, you know, the fans buy into that part too, that once, you know, they start heating up, they're like, oh, he's back for good. And it's like, nah, man.
Nah.
A few home runs aren't gonna make up for the clutch spots we need you in, or, you know, important hits that we need you to make, like just a single or a double. So
yeah, man, that's very true, dude. Yeah, he's definitely been, to me, the guy that has stood out from all the bats in terms of like just the inconsistency. I don't even know if I could call it inconsistency. I think it's just more like a disappointment that he hasn't gotten any better. Like in terms of like smarter, I want to say that he hasn't gotten smarter. Like I feel like when he goes at bat, I feel like he has no plan. You know what I mean? Like whereas someone like Chris Taylor, when he goes at bat, I feel like when I look at him, he looks like someone who has a plan. He knows kind of like a little bit what he wants to do based off the situation. I feel like Bellinger, when he goes at bat, it's just like kind of similar to Jock Peterson, you know, just like that, like
correct.
Go in there, like just be like, hit it.
Call him pop-up Jock.
Yeah, dude. It was kind of like, I mean, it's cool to see it when the home run happens, but when it doesn't, it just frustrates you as a fan. You know what I mean? Especially when you're that second, when you already have 2 outs and you're the third out, pretty much, because then you kill the whole inning.
And I think that's the hard part, like I said, in building that ego within the players that we have on base, and I mean, not only on base, but you know, on deck waiting to hit. Is again, you got all these guys that are good at hitting, but it's a competition, I think, within themselves. You know, who's going to bring everyone home? Who's going to hit it the hardest, like I said previously. But it's hard when these guys are not just playing the small ball and just winning the games, because at the end of the day, that's the most important. I mean, stats are dope. I don't know if it has to do with the whole contract situations that are coming up, because, again, Belly is going to be up to go. So, yeah, maybe he's trying to make a name for himself again so he can. I mean, he's already has, but the way he's playing is like, dude, you're not going to do that in a good spot. And we've seen the Dodgers get rid of good players, you know, the Matt Kemps, the Yasiel Puigs, the guys we needed, I think, most in some of these hard times when we were trying to get to that World Series. So I don't think they're fearful of letting anybody go at this point.
No, man. So, I mean, again,
definitely got to fight for it.
I know. I don't think I think we did talk a lot of. I did talk to Alex about the trades that were happening with Max Scherzer and then Turner. Obviously, these are moves, especially the Scherzer move, were moves the Dodgers had to make up for the Trevor Bauer situation, which feels like he's kind of gone. I mean, the Dodgers have done a good job of just making it seem as if he never played for the club right now. Because
for real, they just blinked him. That's crazy. Can't lie, kind of forgot about him.
Yeah, right. It's like we're like almost like over 10 minutes in talking to it, and we haven't even mentioned them, but it just kind of like I think overall that's the census, man. I feel like for the most part, it feels like that might be it for him, and it's like you have to think about how does the team move forward without him, and that's just kind of what you have to do now.
Well, I was gonna say, to briefly like touch back on that, like that, I think that's again goes back to what I was saying about like the egos and the imagery that we place on all of our players to be superstars and the Hollywood stars that they are here in LA. But I mean, even if we were to get them back, I hated the idea that the players were kind of more casting their vote like, well, we don't want them back as a player due to the situation at hand. I mean, situations like that happen across the league on so many people. Chapman was one of them. Reason we didn't sign him the year that the Cubs won the World Series, which I thought that was crazy.
Yeah,
because we were supposed to buy him that year and we didn't, and it was due to that domestic violence issue. But again, it's something that I don't think the players should even put their 2 cents in. I think baseball is what all they should talk about when it comes to the media aspect of it. Don't talk about personal lives, or if you're gonna talk about someone maybe like foundation or something, their charity that they got, that's cool. But I just think keep it as professional as you can. Don't bring personal life into it. Like, no one's talking about Julio's issue with his girl at the time that happened. Like, you're not gonna start comparing and doing all this, because then it's just gonna cause a mess, and it's just not worth even the conversation. But I think, overall, if whatever happens, I hope he clears, man, because if we could get him back, man, that's a 4-headed monster right there. That's dangerous.
Yeah, right. That'd be
nice.
Scherzer, with Kershaw coming back. Yeah, man. I mean, again, I think for the most part, the Dodgers had to do what they had to do in terms of flipping for Scherzer, because they needed to make up for Bauer's absence. Scherzer turned out to be solid. I mean, what was that first start? He had like 10 strikeouts. I mean, I think for the most part, they have something going there. I'm hoping personally that Price somehow turns it up a little bit. I know it's been kind of tough to see him not. I think the last time he pitched, they also lost. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, man, if he could at least lead this bullpen would be nice. But I know at the same time, there's a couple other guys in the bullpen that are a lot better and that have led them way more than Price has, obviously.
Yep.
So, I just feel like, we'll see how this all pans out, man. Because Price is a big name, but if he doesn't turn around, then I guess that's just what it is. But for now, it feels like it's gonna be Urias, Buehler, Kershaw when he ever comes back, and Scherzer. That would probably be the 4 guys that we have right now. What are your expectations with this pitching rotation? I know we did a lot about the hitting and the offense, but what's your expectations with the pitchers right now?
I mean, I think we do need Price to really fix himself up big time. Taking that year off during the pandemic was, I think, rough on him as a player mentally, because when he first came back, it was kind of like a really like low blow in my eyes, because I was like, man, this guy was not worth that trade. We didn't get to see him play, so it was kind of like first time playing in blue was kind of weird. And then, I mean, to have him on that list of the rotation, it's still a powerhouse. It's still a 4-headed monster, even without Bauer. But I mean, with his stats right now, the way he's pitching, it's a bad look, I think, on not only him, but on the rotation that we currently are holding. That's why I think the team's working real hard to bring up the younger guys like Julio. We can't wait to get Dustin May back. That's going to be good, man.
That's right. That's
super dope next year. So we're missing a lot of players still that are good on that rotation. But I mean, the ones we have now with Scherzer, Kershaw, Buehler, Julio, I think with just those 4 and then Price just as a backup in my eyes, I think that's more than enough to really get you through definitely the postseason if we could get through that. hopefully we could catch up to these Giants, man.
Yeah, man, it'd be nice. We need the Giants to drop some games as well as the Dodgers come and pick up some games. So that'd be like a huge help. It's kind of weird to say
Yeah.
that the Dodgers might not get first place in the NL West after winning it for so long, right? I think it was an 8 season straight.
And yeah, that's hard to see, but at the same time, I think maybe that needs to happen in a weird way.
Yeah.
I don't want it to because I would love to keep that streak going, but we're going to blame it on the World Series hangover. You know, we're going to blame whatever other reasons. But again, the team we have right now, we should be on top. And there's obviously something missing to that puzzle for us to get there. And I think that's the hardest part of watching the team play now. And like we were talking about earlier, and speaking of pitching rotation, you know, they put Gratterall in. He was doing really good. And then Roberts pulls him for some weird reason.
Yeah.
And puts a lefty in. But it's like,
yeah,
bro, he was killing. Like, he was doing really good. Like, why? We saw him do that to Ross Stripling. And again, I think whatever the number of games they're playing, I think Roberts needs to start playing more with his heart and stop playing with the numbers. I think he needs to really like look at it from a baseball standpoint. I mean, again, we have as big as a team that we need to win games. It just sucks to see that even in today's game, even though we won, it was a really close game. We had bases loaded in the ninth and couldn't bring no one in. So
yeah,
it was another sad situation to watch because we're just like, dude,
yeah, man,
like what's going on? And it goes to the two players that you know should be hitting clutch. We had Trey Turner up and Max Muncy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, that's true, man.
It was like, dude, those guys should have at least base hits, and we had a guy on second.
Yeah.
So
now
it was a rough thing to watch, man. But again, I think that's the key point, really.
Yeah, for sure, man. I totally feel you on that one. And I want to say, like, I guess the final thing that we haven't talked about is the closers. You just mentioned Bruce Gratterall, who I feel is a closer for this team. But of course, Kenley Jansen is our technically our ace in that space. And it doesn't look like he's been playing like that, man. So what are your thoughts on how this Dodgers team has to close out their games with the pitching, man?
Man, I think our closing for the last, even during the World Series when we won, but for the last 4 years, has just been questionable. And that goes back again to the mental game. Kenley Jansen got his heart surgery, and I know after that he came back as a whole different player. Of course, anyone would, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And any physical surgery, you know, your mental, your brain, your whole body's going to take a toll. And I even think goes to say with like Mookie Betts right now with his whole vegan switch going to be in the
you blaming the really vegan diet on Betts's
his performance has changed since he announced it, man. I don't know. It's been rough. I've been watching. But no, yeah, like I think any big impact you take on your body like that really changes your whole perspective on how you play. So I know Jensen's been having that struggle since and after those moments. But yeah, I mean, he's a good closer, man. No doubt about that. You can't take his crown away from him. He's one of the best ones in the game for a while. But again, I think he gets into his own head. You know, you got a lot of pressure. You're carrying a big team, and to have not only the fans be there knowing, you know, they're going to go for you or they're going to boo you.
Yeah.
I think he lets that get into his mental a little too much. And I mean, hey, I think when I play the game, when I play the show on my PlayStation, if I know, like, even just me playing, if I'm doing bad, I'll go to just play like the spring training and go back to like the basics where I could learn how to play and hit the ball again. Because sometimes I play these guys online, bro, and this stuff is ridiculous. So
yeah.
Sometimes I gotta like really learn, like, all right, where to watch the ball, how to play, you know, when to swing, where to pitch, where not to pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this situation, my concept is kind of weird to talk from a video game, but I think in anyone's mental, I think to put him in a comfortable place where he could gain that confidence back is really something that he needs. Because I mean, that's truly, I think, for any sport or any concept that you're moving on, if that confidence isn't there and you're always second guessing yourself, you're going to have those struggles. And again, tonight's game was one of those too. He was trying to close. It was getting rough on him.
Yeah, man. That's true, dude.
It's hard, bro, because it's always such a close game when he comes in, and but that's his job. So
yeah,
you know, you can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
But I think we put too much pressure on our players as a fan base. You know, we see them do extremely good a few times, and then we just expect that from them forever. You know, we don't expect any errors or mess ups, and I think that's where we mess them up mentally. I don't know if they look at social media. I hope they don't, but I'm pretty sure someone's got to talk to them about some of the stuff that goes on and is being said about them, because
exactly.
I think it gets to them, man, at the end of the day, and that goes for Belly and the rest of the team.
Yeah, that's true, man. So obviously 47 games left in the season. Dodgers won tonight against the Mets. What do you think is going to happen for the rest of the season?
Man, that if we do though, that's going to be scary, bro. We're going to face San Diego. Everyone knows they're coming for our heads. I don't know what's going on with them, so I can't really speak too much on how good they've been playing, but I mean, regardless, they want our heads, so they want to knock us off the top.
Yeah, the Padres are 9 games behind first place.
No, thank God.
It's just kind of funny because they have such a kind of like, I want to say, like an entertaining team to watch. Definitely this season was a big must-see TV whenever it was Dodgers versus Padres in the series. So in the regular season. So it's kind of crazy to see them kind of slip that bad, but who knows, man? There's still a little bit of
It's because they got a powerhouse too. So
yeah, exactly. I was listening to ESPN Daily, and they did an episode on Jeff Passan, who's like a MLB insider. Obviously, if you follow him on Twitter, he's the guy that will break all the news on like who signed where and stuff, like kind of like what Adrian Wojnarowski is for the basketball. And I guess there was the episode of this pod was about how there was a fake account, a fake Jeff Passan who misspelled the name, and he was the one that reported that Max Scherzer was close to a deal with the Padres. And that's what took off. And it actually went viral and stuff. And people thought it was legit, that this was like Jeff Passan reports. And then this episode on the podcast was about how like that was fake and how Jeff Passan had to like go in and do the whole verification thing or whatever he has to do to let Twitter know like, yo, that's a fake account. And apparently there was never any discussion between the Padres and Scherzer. And that's why he ended up going to the Dodgers. And for the most part, people thought like, oh, wow, like the Dodgers beat the Padres in this deal. And then Jeff Passan, the real Jeff Passan on ESPN, came out to say like, yeah, there was never a discussion with the Padres. But, you know, it's crazy how people believe things online, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a scary realm of its own, man. You have so many people. And I think that's why it's brave for you guys as a team to put together this podcast. And big hats off to you guys, because the critics on the internet is crazy, man. I just actually talked about that on an interview I did. It's like, man, criticism can come from all angles on there, and it's hard to please everyone. You really got to just be, you know, as open and honest with the situations of any sport. Yeah. And just be real. And again, some people are always going to disagree with you on the situation. So, yeah, man, to see what happened with him was crazy. I believed it. I think I sent the message to my brothers, because I was like, bro, if they get Scherzer, bro, we're done, bro. Like, this is it. And I was like in shock, bro. Yeah. Because I do follow him, and I get fooled so many times with fake Twitter accounts. It's not even funny.
I know, dude.
I think those are the ones that get me the most.
I know. Freaking Twitter, man. And freaking people that know how to do that. Like, they know how to like make it where obviously they're going to take the same profile pic, but then they like know how to make the name look like somewhat similar that you can't tell when you first see it. Like, you have to really like watch it. Like, you have to really read it like thoroughly. But most of the time we don't read it because we're like we're like excited that this is happening, so we want to like share it right away. And then we forget, like, oh shoot, we didn't even realize it. It's not the blue check mark one, you know. So
it's a crazy game. The funny one, actually, just to kind of go back in time on this, since we're talking about it, but I know at one point San Diego had changed their name on Twitter. And one of the fans took over the actual full name.
Oh, that's
and
right.
I don't know how they bought it back, or if Twitter went in or they reported it to Twitter, but I was laughing at that because he took the actual, I don't know what they were doing. It was during the time when they were switching like the jerseys and all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
I heard something like that. Switched, I don't think I know that story either. But I heard something similar too.
Yeah, they took the handle.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was funny, man. The handle got jacked, and I was like, dude, they're gonna have to pay for it.
That's insane.
That guy is his now.
That's crazy.
But no, I mean, that's the scary part, and it sucks to see that, you know, not only that we rely on it as fans, but it sucks that it's the way it moves the emotion of the sports world.
Yeah.
By just a tweet or a fake tweet that comes out.
Yeah, because Twitter's a source of news now.
It's a scary world.
You know what I mean? People go to Twitter to get whatever news they want to get, whether it's politics or sports or, local stuff.
Earthquakes.
Or crime, you know what I mean? Or memes or like ratchet stuff. People are on there for that too. So,
I use it for sports, definitely, and definitely for the earthquakes, man. When those hit, I got checked.
Yeah.
Like, oh, all right, cool. It was real. Everyone's tweeting about it.
You're not on there to check to see if Kanye dropped the album, dude?
Oh, man. Nah. Kanye's killing me, bro. I don't know what he's doing. Waiting for him, man. Come on.
Drop that donda.
Man.
I wanted to switch gears right now and actually talk to you about you and your involvement with Sailor Brew Coffee. Sailor Brew's Coffee is a supporter of this show here. And I want to thank you for that, because I remember reaching out to you and letting you know, because I had heard someone do a ad read for Sailor Brew on a different pod, and I'm like, hey man, if Sailor Brew's looking for like pods to sponsor, like, we're definitely open to that. And obviously I had tried the coffee a long time ago, when we first met up, like a while back, on that one time we met out at In-N-Out. Shout out to In-N-Out, and you told me about it, so I tried it and I was like blown away by how good that coffee is. You know what I mean? It's like straight up, like even the way it's marketed, like the luxury thing, like it really is like luxury coffee. Like it's really freaking good. It's almost at the level where I'm like, yo, man, I think this is better than the stuff I've tasted at Whole Foods, man, for real. And I love that it's local, Pasadena, and Trayvon, the owner, he has an amazing story. But I wanted you to come on and just kind of share a little bit about like your involvement with Sailor Brew. What do you do? Yeah, like what made you want to kind of collaborate with them on that?
Definitely, man. Yeah, I mean, me and Trey go back to high school, so we were friends back then. And after high school, funny man, I was actually just looking at some photos I took when we went to a Dodger game way back when we were younger. It was cool because I have this really dope photo of him walking down. I want to say just the hallway that they had there. Yeah. It's just cool black and white, and the lights just hitting like his hat and all this. Cool. It's a dope image, but it was cool like to bring that back and then understand that that's how I started with him with the Sailor Brew journey, which was doing photography. And he had approached me about it during a holiday, I think in December of 2017, that we had talked, and he had told me about this idea he had doing the coffee company. He already had the logo. It was a different color. It's actually, well, I could show you right now after once we're done. It's a pretty cool different look. Yeah. It doesn't look as good as the one it has now. But he showed me all his images, and he gave me a brief explanation of it, kind of like you were saying, the luxury and the style of the coffee, and how he's going for a more better and pure taste of the bean, of where it comes from, its origin, which I thought was really dope. At the time, I wasn't really into coffee like that. I was just a normal Starbucks drinker, going purchasing the regular stuff. Yeah. The Frappuccinos and all the weird stuff that I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. But yeah, he showed me, and he broke down like in detail, man. And I think that's one of the biggest things about the company that I love the most, is it's more than just selling the product. He's really teaching you about the beans, where it comes from, how to brew it, the best way to brew it for his tasting, but then also, what you can do for your flavors if you like something a little maybe less harsh, or a little more light on the roasting side. Yeah. And I love that the most about when he brought me that idea. And I mean, that was the biggest thing to me, was when he came up to me and gave me that whole brief breakdown. He was like, man, I just want to capture these images that really bring that product to life. And I think that was the hardest part on my side, because I was like, how am I going to turn some coffee bags into something that he really like? It was so meaningful the way he expressed it to me. And you got to check him out someday. And really, I actually probably should bring him on, man, one day and have him talk some sports. He likes sports too, and definitely, how.
Yeah, man, for sure, dude.
How the coffee really changed his motive and where he comes from, because it's really deep, man. Yeah. His passion for it is beyond what I can express. Yeah. But yeah, he got me involved in it that way, and we started taking some pictures, and product pictures at that. he fell in love with my style, the way I took his idea and kind of brought it to life. And we've been partners on that ever since. And I mean, I fell in love with the coffee. And just to give a quick review on it myself, again, I wasn't really a dark coffee drinker. I used to always get something mixed or, almond milk or, half and half.
Yeah.
So he first gave me the black coffee and I was just like, man, I don't really drink this. Sipped it, man, right away. Flavor, bro, hit me so good. Like, hit my mouth and it's just so good. I was like, bro, like, I never had nothing like this. Like, at that point, I was like, every coffee has to taste like this. There's no way that he's going to win me over. Like, I kind of had this battle in my head. Like, it can't be that, I've been drinking coffee my whole life. I really wasn't, which is sad. Yeah, man, after that, I went around. I was in San Jose at the time. So I went around to like mom and pop shops, to like Cuban cafes or a lot of just homemade cafes that they had around the city there. And man, some of them were really flavorful. Some were good, but none of them hit the way his did. Like, there was something about either the way he roasted it or just the way that bean tastes. And it was good, man. It changed my mind. And I swear I can't find nothing that can compete with it or can beat that flavor that he has for his beans. And I'm a big fan of the North Star. That's my favorite one, man. So
yeah, man.
If you're looking to get it, try the North Star. It's a medium roast. It's really good. And another thing, man, he taught me the difference between dark roast and medium roast.
Yeah.
And all that. I had no idea.
Yeah. I learned all that at Starbucks. That's where I learned. So like I kind of had an idea of what there was. And I think now there's a light roast, which is the one I tried recently was a light roast. But I think the first one I bought was the medium roast, the North Star, and I loved it. That was a really good one. But yeah, so you had mentioned that you do photography for them, and that's kind of what you do, kind of like outside of being a Dodgers fan, is you do a lot of photography and video, right? What was it that got you into that?
Man, yeah, photography's always been it's kind of like bouncing around my life as a kid. I remember when I was younger, I used to always want to try to grab like the camera from whoever was holding it and like just look through it. It was just this vision I see when I look through that POV of a camera where it's like, this is cool, man. And then the idea of freezing time and really just like locking in those moments in life and holding them forever. I thought that was probably one of the most mind-blowing things to learn that a photo was. Like, it's actually a moment in time that's frozen forever and you can keep it and remind yourself and look back at those times and flash back. So as I got older, I just started playing around with more cameras. My freshman year of high school, took a film photography class where I learned how to do development in film. I didn't really pay attention too much in it in my freshman year because I was kind of just like, you can't make money doing photography. Like, I was trying to like find my niche where I was going to make money growing up. Lucky me, man, the school offered 2 more years of digital photography and they taught me marketing. There was actually a music program, which I'm a big fan of music too. So trying to get involved in that field was my dream since the get-go, man, to be involved with some kind of media or some kind of music and be a part of someone's journey, whether it be, an artist that I find or a product like Sailor's Brew that I work with, but to be the guy behind the scenes to really make it come to life feels really great, man. And even today they're at one of the markets here in Pasadena, and to see the banner hanging with my photo that I first took, that me and Trey did for the first time when we first went out, it feels crazy, man, to know that that's my work hanging up on that banner.
That's dope, man.
And I would have never thought that, something so small as just capturing a moment can do so much for people. It brings people in, people talk about it all the time. And even here in my house now, I got a lot of my photos hanging in the living room. They're framed and nice, and everybody that comes in, first things they do, they stop, they look at all of them, and they're like, "Oh, where'd you guys buy these pictures?"
Yeah.
And it always makes me laugh because it's just like, "Oh, I shot these." They're like, "Oh, you do photography?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Bro, this thing looks like a museum." And I'm like, "Man, it's a good feeling." And yeah, that's really what drove me, man. Yeah. That feeling there, like to see people's reaction and get the reaction from everyone, family, friends, and strangers at any given time, to get that wow moment just from something that I see in my eye and bringing it to life.
Dang, that's beautiful, bro. That's really beautiful, man. And like you mentioned, Sailor's Brew is gonna be this weekend and at the Rose Bowl, right? For like a food fest type of an event that there's happening.
Correct. Yeah, you can only buy the tickets on FoodieLand Night Market.
FoodieLand Night Market,
starting tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. So
That's good.
I know the guys are working hard. They're there now. They're probably wrapping up close today at 10. So they look like they did a lot of good sales, man. We got a lot of good reviews, and the IG story looked fulfilling to see people just taking a sip and enjoying it the same way I did. And I'll never shy away from telling someone that, like, dude, I don't lie when it comes to certain things like that. Like, dude, just try it, and I promise you'll like it. And it has not failed me, man. Everyone that sipped on it or like just had a little sampler is like, man, this thing tastes really good. And I'm just like, always like, I know, like, it's really good stuff, man. He knows what he's doing. So
Yeah,
man, definitely go check him out if you can. Let me get that link for you guys so you guys know where to go for it.
Yeah. We'll put the link on our show notes.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, the team's awesome, man. His whole family runs it.
I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I know we've been talking about doing an episode. And I'm really glad that you got to share your story of your passion as a photographer and video guy. I don't know if videographer, I think that's the formal title.
Yeah.
Photographer is just so easy to say, but yeah, man. And
the other ones,
you know, huge Dodger fan that you are. We got to go to a game this season. That was really dope. And man, like, do you want to plug in your socials where people can follow you?
Yeah, man. Hit me up. You could message me, DM me if you ever want to collab. I'm always up for that. But yeah, you can find me on IG at JV_ORTIZ_photography. Hit me there if you need. I also got my website up. Didn't tell nobody about it yet, but I do have it published. It's just JV Ortiz Photography, allstraightforward.com. You can check out some of my work there, and also as well, hit me up there and collab. So
nice.
Check it out.
Nice. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. We'll see you guys next week. Later.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, guys.